Hi, everybody. It's Monica with American English with Monica. I'm so glad you're here today. We are talking about phrasal verbs, and the two that I want to review with you today are really important. I have seen both of these on Cambridge exams, but they're also just really common for everyday use, and you should know them. Both of them have multiple definitions, but I'm only going to talk about the two or three most common definitions. All right, let's get started. Take up and take off. These two phrasal verbs are really important to know. Let's start with take up. One meaning that I want you to know, and this is the meaning I've seen on Cambridge exams. To take up something means to start a new activity, to start a new hobby, to learn a new thing. You're pursuing something, you're learning something new. We use it often with a hobby or an interest. For example, I don't play any musical instruments, but someday I'd like to take up the piano, right? 5 years ago, I took up yoga. Yeah. So it's to start a new activity, to learn something new, to pursue a new activity. I'll put that one because that means you have to learn it. Pursue. A new pursuit. A new activity. It might not be positive. I used hobbies like exercising and art and music. Those are things we take up. But people also take up bad habits. For example, if you take up smoking, she took up cigarettes at age 15. That can be a bad habit, but it's something that you started. You started a new activity. When we use this meaning, we can separate it, right? She took painting up last year. Okay, maybe she was learning how to paint pictures. Okay, so you can separate it. Some of the phrasal verbs that we review every week, you can't separate. And if you've missed any of the previous videos, please go back and watch them. We're reviewing a few phrasal verbs every week. For 2023, I'm doing a video every week. So hopefully these are helpful to you. Let's do another meaning for take up. All right. And this other meaning is to occupy a lot of space or time, right? The table in the kitchen takes up so much space. Maybe we should move the table or get a smaller one. Maybe it takes up too much space. So to occupy. Maybe the meeting yesterday took up my whole afternoon. It took up a lot of my time. For this meaning, we do not separate. You can't say the table takes it up. We just say the table takes up a lot of room. The meeting took up my whole morning. Okay? The third and final definition that I want to share with you for take up, it's a good one. I want you to pay attention. This is a little specific. Okay? If you take something up, you have to separate. Take something up with a person. Take something up with someone. This is the form. So take it up with your boss. It means to talk about something, to start a conversation. Usually when we have to take it up with the neighbor, take it up with my colleague, it's probably a topic that is difficult to discuss. It's not a fun conversation. I'm not going to take it up with them to discuss a party, but I will take it up with my boss if there is a problem at work. This is important. I want you to know if you take if you have to take it up with the manager, that is the form we use for this phrasal verb. And you can, conjugate it. Yesterday, she took the questions up with her colleagues. Okay? All right. Let's go to take off. Take off. And I should mention, you probably know this if you've been to my channel. If you have any questions or examples, put them in the comments. Sometimes I get something wrong or I miss a definition. You can always ask me, no problem. And I do all of these videos in one take with no editing. So sometimes I make mistakes, and you can let me know. If you want an English teacher that sounds perfect and reads a script and looks perfect, just find a different teacher. I sometimes make mistakes. I want you to know that. Okay. All right. Let's talk about take off. This one's great. So if you have to, there's a lot of meanings, but I want to talk about a few. If you need to take off something, it is to remove, right? I need to take off my glasses, take your shoes off before you walk into the house. You can separate it. Okay. Take my sweater off when I'm too hot. So the other similar meaning to remove is if you need to take time off. I need to take a few days off. That means we are not going to be at school. We're not going to be at work. You're doing something different. You'll be away from your usual routine. Okay? And you can separate it or not. So I need to take off Friday and Saturday, or I need to take next week off. I won't be at school. I won't be at work. Okay? That's another meaning. If you need time away, to take time, if you take time away. The other meaning I want to discuss about this one, you've probably heard really common, is to leave, right? The plane took off at 3 o'clock. It left the ground. It departed. The train will take off at 5 o'clock. But we use this a lot. We, native speakers, use this a lot when we need to leave a meeting, leave the room. We're on a phone call. I need to take off. I need to leave. I need to remove myself from the situation. Okay, so I'm going to take off at 4. I'm gonna take off. It's very common. I am going to take off at 4 o'clock. Okay, take off, to leave. And for this meaning, you cannot separate. You can't say the plane take it off. There's no separating this phrasal verb when you're talking about leaving. Okay. One more meaning I will add here is if something is reduced in price, right? We will take off 10% because we're having a sale, and you can separate it. We will take 10% off the price. We will take off $20 if you buy this today. So it also can be to reduce the price, deduct. Let me just look at my notes and make sure I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of meanings for these, and I just want you to be familiar with some of them. Try practicing, try listening for them when you watch videos or if you hear native speakers. If you don't have an opportunity to speak to native English speakers regularly, please watch YouTube channels and not English teachers. It's kind of boring. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're watching. But if you want to hear regular pace native speakers, I would watch a video on YouTube about a topic that you're interested in, like traveling or cooking or dogs. There's so many wonderful videos of people speaking naturally with their English, and you will hear phrasal verbs all the time. So let me know if you hear any of the phrasal verbs that we've reviewed. That's it for today. I will see you next week. I'm so glad you're here. Make sure you like the video. If you like it, put your thumbs up and subscribe and share it with your friends who are also learning English. because this phrasal verb series is important to help you get more confident with your speaking. All right. I will see you next time. Bye.